The spacewalk looked ordinary. Outside the International Space Station, Luca Parmitano moved through a world that had been rehearsed, planned, and practiced for years. Beneath him, Earth drifted silently across the darkness. Above him, nothing but black space. Every tool had a place. Every movement had a procedure. The suit surrounding him represented decades of engineering built around a simple promise: keep the astronaut alive. On this day, that promise appeared to be holding. Then he felt something unusual. Not an alarm. Not a warning light. Just water. A small amount at first. Moisture against the back of his head, where no moisture should exist. Inside a spacesuit, unexpected water is strange. But strange is not the same as dangerous. Spacewalks involve equipment, hoses, cooling systems, drink bags. Small anomalies happen. The task continued. The station remained where it should be. The suit remained operational. Communication still worked. The water seemed like a problem that probably had an explanation. The first question was simple. Where is it coming from? A reasonable answer appeared almost immediately. Perhaps water from the drinking system had leaked. Perhaps a small amount of liquid had escaped somewhere inside the suit. Annoying, uncomfortable, distracting, but manageable. That explanation fit the evidence. At least for a while. Because the water did not disappear. It returned. Then it spread. The sensation moved beyond the back of the head. Moisture began reaching the face. Tiny floating globes drifted inside the helmet. In normal gravity, water falls. Here it obeyed different rules. Every new drop remained trapped inside the same enclosed space as the astronaut. The amount still seemed survivable, but it was increasing. And that created a new problem. If the drink bag explanation was correct, why was the water continuing to accumulate? Outside the station, nothing about the route had changed. The handrails were still there. The tether remained attached. The airlock waited in exactly the same place. Yet something inside the helmet was moving in the wrong direction. More water. Not less. The explanation that had reduced concern was beginning to lose its grip. A nuisance should stabilize. This wasn't stabilizing. The mission team and crew started treating the situation more seriously. The spacewalk was terminated. Returning to the airlock became the priority. The decision sounded straightforward. Go home. But the journey back was changing. Water was no longer just present. It was becoming part of the astronaut's environment. Inside the helmet, the clear world that had existed at the beginning of the spacewalk was shrinking. Water drifted across parts of the visor. Moisture reached the eyes, nose, and ears. Sounds became harder to interpret. Sensations became less reliable. The problem was no longer comfort. The problem was capability. The audience watching this story knows something the astronaut cannot yet fully know. Every essential tool for survival is connected to perception. You need to see. You need to hear. You need to orient yourself. And one by one, those abilities were being challenged by something that should not have existed inside the helmet at all. The water kept growing. The temporary explanation was collapsing. If this were merely a small leak, why was visibility getting worse? Why was hearing becoming compromised? Why was communication becoming harder? The evidence no longer matched the answer. And as the answer failed, the danger became visible. The most threatening environment was no longer outside the suit. It was inside it. The helmet had transformed. What began the day as protection now contained the threat. Luca Parmitano could not simply remove it. A helmet can be taken off safely inside the station. Outside, in vacuum, it remains sealed no matter what is happening within it. The barrier protecting him was also preventing a direct solution. As water accumulated around his face, the return to the airlock became something different. Not a procedure, a survival problem. The route home had not changed. His ability to use it had... Handrail after handrail, he moved along the station's exterior. Vision became increasingly uncertain. Water interfered with sight. Communication quality degraded. Orientation required more concentration. The sensory world that astronauts depend on was narrowing. The station remained enormous. The path remained exposed, and the darkness beyond remained indifferent. What made the situation frightening was not distance. It was depletion. Every minute risked another reduction in capability. Another layer of certainty disappearing. The challenge was no longer completing a spacewalk. It was reaching the airlock before the remaining tools for survival disappeared with it. Eventually, he arrived. The hatch that had represented routine at the beginning of the day now represented something else entirely. Safety. The crew brought him inside. Only then could the helmet finally come off. And only then did everyone see the scale of what had been happening. Water poured from the helmet. The threat that had remained largely hidden during the return suddenly became visible. Floating droplets escaped into the cabin. What had seemed like a minor anomaly earlier now revealed itself as something far more serious. The astronaut had not been fighting vacuum. He had been fighting water trapped inside a sealed life support system. The investigation that followed eventually traced the event to a failure inside the suit's systems. A malfunction involving hardware meant to manage water and airflow had allowed water to enter a place where it should never have been. But that explanation belongs to the end of the story. During the spacewalk itself, nobody possessed that certainty. What mattered in the moment was much simpler. Water kept increasing. Capabilities kept disappearing. And the route home had to be completed before the situation became worse. That is what changes the meaning of the opening. The first image is a confident astronaut working outside a station in a suit designed to keep him alive. The final image is water spilling from that same helmet after removal. The equipment never stopped looking like protection. That was the contradiction. The danger remained hidden behind the appearance of safety. A routine spacewalk became one of the most unsettling survival incidents in the history of human spaceflight, because the threat did not arrive from space. It arrived from inside the system trusted to defend against it. And by the time the water finally became visible to everyone else, an astronaut had already spent the journey home, watching his world disappear from the inside.